What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Shifting Gears. This is part 4, our final segment for this Horde discussion. The previous parts are linked below, or if you'd rather, I'll have the full 2-hour conversation posted later this week, so you can watch it all at once. Also, don't forget that I'll have my personal opinions typed out in a document linked below. Wrapped up the main topics I wanted to cover. Pete, I think you had something you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I was talking about, I kind of mentioned it earlier, like, will Gears, or will the Coalition build on what the foundation that Gears 4 has laid down with Horde mode, or will it become something broader? Like, an idea or just a thought I had was, like, is putting Horde mode on multiplayer versus maps limiting its potential? Like, would Horde mode on a Horde mode specific map kind of air to, overrun, maybe not necessarily that same format, but the fact that it's a bigger, grander scale, and kind of have Horde emulate the war aspect of Gears of War, like have it that there's like a bunch of AI kind of in the background. You can see battles kind of happening, and like there's waves of enemies coming at you.
You mean like on Highway on Gears 2 when you were playing up the top and you saw the Brumac and the troops kind of walking across?
Yeah, like just like massive hordes of just like ridiculous amounts of enemies, and just change the concept of what Horde is, and have those classes that we talked about, and like you could set up in certain places, but it wouldn't be as like asymmetrical as versus multiplayer. Is like have it be like, oh shit, there's like 3 Brumacs coming in, we gotta hop on this big ass turret or something like that, or just something that's like a ridiculous scale.
So I really like the ability to, like, they don't have to create a bunch of new maps for the 2 modes. Yeah. So that's really nice, but at the same time I've loved to think of like, alright, what if there's a Horde map that is Anvil Gate, and we are defending Anvil Gate, or maybe another base that's in the middle of a field somewhere, and it's not like, and its enemies are coming from all directions, and you have to defend that base. You can't go camp in a corner and only have them come in from one direction. You're in the middle here. Enemies are going to be coming in from all the directions.
What if there's like a Horde mode version of House of Sovereigns?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just like waves of enemies coming at you, but it's in a wave-based Horde mode format, like instead of just that campaign segment, you know what I mean? But it kind of takes place in that entire area, and maybe like once you've defended the House of Sovereigns, maybe area 2 the campaign, you can go in through the houses and get to a next area, stuff like Overrun. Yeah. But it's a Horde mode. Like maybe, I don't know if that's like out of the technical limits of an Xbox or whatever, but
I don't think it would be out of the technical limits. I think the biggest issue with that is just manpower at the Coalition needing to develop.
I think they're relatively small.
I'll vote.
It's I would love that though. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Hire me.
That draws a lot of similarity to. Again, I'm sounding like a Sony pony, but with Uncharted 2 and 3, as well as then, I mean, not something Sony, more like.
By the way, I've never played Uncharted, so
you need to play them.
I've never played them.
You need to play them. They are fantastic.
Like Gears of War, you will like Uncharted. Pretty much, it goes hand in hand. Or if you like The Division, you will like Uncharted. But Uncharted in particular, they had 2 types of co-op modes. They had your survival, which is what we've seen traditionally with Uncharted 4. In Uncharted 3 and 2, they had these small little mini pocket campaigns of sorts, maybe like taking an hour and a half at most, maybe. And it's very much that. Like you go through kind of major set pieces of the story, doing another type of objective, and it's all completely co-op. So you run through, get a new area, defeat this entire wave because they're blocking your path, going forward from there. Like and just. You saying Anvil Gate, Chaz, I'm like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Like that's what I think. That's where Gears has a huge advantage. They've got so many big set pieces from the franchise. They could make so many of those.
Like what was? Remember the Rendezvous trailer from Gears?
Yes.
Imagine being in that set piece. Like
I have a Rendezvous.
In the fucking midst of just rain of hellfire just coming at you, like trying to take out all the locusts down in the hollow when they're in the middle of their like Lambent invasion. Like just thoughts of that, like giving us those iconic set pieces and give us a co-op scenario, and maybe make it like obviously and have it as a horde mode, like just stuff like that would just that would make it like addicting and immersive and like an experience rather than like a grind. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering what we would miss out on by having it like that instead of having it on the versus maps, though.
Yeah, so there is that kind of like pros and cons, right? Like there's the benefit of them having it on the versus multiplayer maps is that they don't need to design the extra, you know, grander scale stuff, and that they can kind of fine tune stuff and maybe give us more in terms of like, you know, class unlocks, variety, DLC characters, that kind of thing. But
did you ever play what was it like? It was one of the Halo games had Spec Ops on it.
Spartan Ops.
Spartan Ops.
Spartan Ops.
It was
Spartan
the
Ops, yes.
it was they were like campaign scenarios where you could play 4-player co-op with other Spartans, and it kind of played campaign segments, and you could also do it in reverse, and it changed bi-weekly.
Yeah,
something like that.
like
it actually had story that like connected to
Right.
Halo 4 campaign.
and it's like they don't need to have a progressive story going through Gears Ops, we can call it, but like having Anvil Gate as an ops thing like that, where you can go in and load in, and it's essentially playing Horde on that segment. It
Right.
might be cool. I
Have
mean,
a Persengi unit on standby with their machetes just to go and ambush any
you can
potential.
play like maybe this isn't a Horde mode. Maybe this is a separate thing. Maybe Horde mode can remain as it is, and this could be a separate thing, like you know, reminiscent of Horde mode, and it could be like, you know, as you said, like taking place on Anvil Gate, and it could be story driven. Maybe it's canon that you're playing as like, you know, like Zeta Squad, you know, or just some other squad we've never heard of, and we get to play as these guys in this scenario, like in Judgment, like defending the sacred armor, or, you know, that kind of stuff. That doesn't make any sense. Why was there sacred armor in Judgment? Sacred.
I'm trying to play with Sid this afternoon. I'll ask him about that.
Who knows?
It looked like
I think a good idea would be, you know, Halo has sort of like their Forge mode.
Yeah,
like you can create your own maps. Can you imagine just having?
Don't get into this.
That would be crazy.
Like I looked at, like, you know, the fact that the Unreal Engine was built into Gears of War 1 PC, and the fact that people could create their own Horde maps and own Horde scenarios. Just like people created like these like kill machines of just hordes of like locusts coming out just so they could mow them down over and over again, just slaughtering locusts. But that's a whole other thing. Like, what if Gears had a build map system, and you could design it and you could make a Horde mode game mode, and you could indicate where the AI comes in and spawn placements and things like that. Just
I would abuse the crap out of that.
Oh my god, that would suck so much time. And in terms of content creation, you could just like,
oh my god,
you could go machinimas, like that kind of, like creating like kind of cinematic, you know, your own stories through like with storytelling, or you could create like your own game modes that like take off like how many game modes
where I see it from is challenges.
Like, it's and like all that kind of stuff, and infection. Like, imagine.
I see it from the challenge perspective of like, okay, Robert, you like to do these no fortification challenges? Here, I'm gonna make this Horde map for you. I challenge you to like go beat this one without your fortifications on it.
Yeah. Like
my response to that would be, I'm chomping at the bit and I can't wait.
See, there we go. I got it.
I just want to build a map so I can place a ladder somewhere. Why hasn't there ever been a ladder in Gears multiplayer?
The animation for it's so good.
Right, I always envisioned, right, like if they bring back River, I always envisioned like instead of only having
they had that ladder on that one version of River that never got published.
I saw the Gears 3, the Gears 4. Was it? It was a Gears 3 build of River that they put in the game, and it had like an extra tier on top. But like, imagine if, you know, the sniper spawns, instead of having to run into the house, imagine if there's a ladder that goes up to the sniper, like or one that goes down into the river in that connecting area, or something, just stuff like that. Like, it'd be, I just love to see more dynamic stuff like that. Like, I think Epic went too far with Judgment and the fact that you could fall off of everything, but I've also noticed that the Coalition adopted some of it, to a minute detail. Like if you look at security, you can drop off a wall that's double the height of a regular wall. Stuff like that. I like when it's like that, but not when it's as extreme as jumping off a fucking like 3-story building on streets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's ridiculous.
And you take
but,
like a small red ring of damage. It's just like
yeah. I
or you throw your stim grenade down.
Yeah,
Just
or
before
like
you go
even
to a shotgun
like
battle.
something I loved was Underhill. The fact you could open the garage door and like you're running away from all the horde, you could close it and just be like, "Oh God, I'm safe." You know, like you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Try and beat 50 waves of insane from inside there. You'd think it was easy.
Dude, Gears 2 Horde on casual is hard. You know what I mean? Like insane is just not. It's not right. Like it's the bots have that 100% accuracy. Dead.
Yeah.
Like that's
Actually,
all.
We tried something. Okay, it was maybe a couple of years ago, but we decided we want to try and speedrun Gears 2 Horde on Insane.
Oh no.
We
Not
were
possible.
aiming for it. We beat security in 1 hour, 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's legit. That's pretty legit.
That's insane.
That's
How,
pretty fast.
how you can even survive a blood mount even within close proximity of you is ridiculous.
Here's what we did.
My God,
You
I
know
forgot
where
about
the
Bloodlines.
grenades spawn? We were basically there. There was 2 of us
Yeah.
either side. So we'd basically run and plant grenades in there just to try and take it out and lance a fire. The first 20 waves were quite intense. And then on the boss wave, we basically have somebody go in and grab the mortar. And literally stand in the middle and try and mortar the shit out of everything. And then after wave 36, we moved to one end and then just grenade planted and just tried to beat it from there. But that was so stressful. But
Yeah,
I was playing.
I bet.
I don't know if you've heard of these guys. Chris James.
Nope.
Chris James, 1904.
Maybe.
Okay. He's pretty. He does more Resident Evil now, but he was one hell of a player. Red Taoist, he's amazing. He came up with the Gears 3 for score system, Death Hijacker, and Kashmiri Blade. And myself. I consider myself, out of that equation because I'm a noob. Compared to those guys, I'm not worthy. But they brought me in for it anyway, and we did it. I think they did Canals in 3 hours. I think they did Waystation in 2.5 hours.
Crazy.
Gears 2 Horde is a challenge just because of
Yes.
how ridiculous the AI is.
Yeah.
Like it's not the AI in that game isn't fair. It's not fair. They can either be derpy looking at the ground, or they just come up and just body the absolute shit out of you. Like
Or they do both at
doesn't-
the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or both at the same time.
My favorite
I've seen
one-
ground
I've seen
and they
people
body.
shoot after shots out of their ass.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
My favorite one was we were playing on Mansion. We were playing outside, and this bolter just came out of nowhere, kicked over all the shields,
Yeah.
and then came and sat right next.
Dude, they would actively seek out your shields, just like bump, 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 gone. Fuck you, and
And
just
he
like
came-
just
came
shoot
sat
you in the
next-
face. I
He
remember
came and
that.
sat next to me. We're just looking at each other like this, and then he was like, "Okay, bye." And then he ran out.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, 2 Cantuses, two Maulers, and a couple of Cyclopses came. It's just like, yeah, this is game over.
They still kind of do that in some senses. Like you start hitting like 5 enemies left, and then you get all Grenadiers just charging at one guy because screw that one guy in particular. They just chase him down, and I see our scout running. Guys, I need help. He's getting. You see like the cavalry trying to chase him down. It's hilarious. The AI is just. It's always had that little quirkiness, but I mean, you gotta love it too.
One thing we have.
PS2 AI was just horrible. So
I was gonna say something we haven't brought up at all is really the enemies and the types of enemies and variety that there is.
Right. Yeah.
Like-
so we have what?
Bolters.
We have small, so we have like the trackers
Triggers,
and
juvies.
juvies. We have what next here is like the drones. So we have the assortment
Yeah.
of like, grenadier, drone, sniper, all that kind of thing.
The
and
DR,
then
or not
and then the
DRs,
mid-
but the
Dead Eyes and like
Dead Eyes.
the
Peacekeepers.
Dead Eyes. Oh yeah. And then we have the mid tier guys, which is like the Scion, the DR1 protector, and then we have the the miscellaneous being the Pouncer.
Yeah.
Then we have
Guardians.
bosses, things like that, and Guardians and stuff like that. All that.
That's one thing that ruined
it sounds like
me.
it sounds like a lot, but like, it is something I have always thought about. Like in Gears 3, didn't it feel like there was a dynamic, like there was a lot more.
There was more
in terms of different types. I'm trying to think, like the Gunkers, the Berserkers, like the Cerapedes,
Armored Cantus.
What were the names of the flying things that were associated with Mira?
Shriekers,
yeah. Those
But
are kind of like Guardians, I suppose.
So
you had level 1 Reaver and you had level 2 Reaver. If I remember.
So do you think
then
there's
you had
going to be
Savage.
you think in Gears 5 that there's just going to be doppelgangers of like the Reaver and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, I'm wondering
Possibly.
do you think they'll bring Locust in?
Yeah,
No.
I think there was such a huge demand of people saying like, why can't I play against a fucking Locust in Gears?
It's like
4?
I don't even care if it's a Locust necessarily. It's just the variety was there.
Right.
I want that
I
variety.
think what would be a pretty cool idea is having to select your enemy types. So obviously you can do it in Gears 4. You can have anything goes. You can have feral. You can have standard. What would be really cool is you can select you can select normal Horde. So for example, you've got your Gears 2 enemies. Then you've got your Gears 3 with Lambent. Lambent, will not be a separate thing. Lambent will be included because obviously
So is it that
you're
you're picking your faction that you play against?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily different. It's just that it's the Locust skin on this enemy, or it's the Swarm skin on this enemy, or it's the Lambent skin, or it's like the UIR. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
God.
Something like that. Like
That'd be cool.
yeah.
Plus, that makes it so Locust packs and
is it that you can do that, or is it nice that maybe like every 10 waves it could be like, so this 1 to 10 is Locust, this 1 to 10 is Swarm, this 1 to 10 is UIR, something like that. There's so many different ways they could do everything. It's ridiculous, but yeah.
What are your thoughts on the way they format the boss waves currently? I feel like they're really underwhelming compared to.
I would like it to be a surprise. Like you're not expecting it.
Exactly.
Like what I was saying with Ram, like Ram on that version of Horde. Like Ram has entered the battlefield. Like you need to fucking kill him. Like it's a problem that he's there.
I think one of the biggest things for me was when you look at Gears 3 bosses versus Gears 4 bosses. Gears 3 had multiple that spawned on the map at once. Like, so yeah, there might be a single Lambent Zerker or a single Brumak or something.
Yeah.
But like having a bunch of
There's also multi-boss waves, like a multiple regular Berserkers and multiple Reavers.
Right,
yeah,
multiple
I know what
Reavers, multiple Gunkers, that type of thing. It just seemed a lot more overwhelming. Like, it seemed more difficult.
There was a way that you could actually only play Berserker on Brumak in Gears 3. Basically, what you did is you started the game on wave 10. And then you play 10. You play 10 waves, and then you'd get a Berserker or a Brumak, and that's how we used to. We used to pray for Berserkers. We used to pray to the Berserker god so we could glitch the map. For example, artillery. What we used to do is when we played Brumak Berserker, we had a way of trapping the Berserker right at the back so he wouldn't come in. And then when we got Berserkers on wave 8, we go and buy the very opposite base. That way, only one Berserker came in on the boss wave, so one person would kind of take that Berserker off to the side, and we're free to do whatever. The Berserker in the back just keep running into the command post for some reason. So that was pretty cool. We found out. So I'd like the option of that having either a Snatcher or Berserkers or a Brumak or a Swarmak. Whichever way you want to call it. It's a Brumak. It's a Brumak with blisters, basically.
Yeah, it was like with extra opportunities to damage it from different angles, kind of thing. Like I think like they shouldn't be afraid to with the bosses to have similar bosses, like have a Swarmak one wave, a Brumak the next. Like they don't have to have one or the other. They can have both.
Right.
I think I remember Rod Ferguson came out and said that there's not going to be doppelgangers of everything in terms of Swarm, because what a lot of people didn't understand in the campaign is that the Scions are Locust They're not
Yeah.
swarm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're just scion is just a word they just call them, and I think that that scion means something. It probably like relates all the words that the coalition and Gears use. It always means something. So scion probably means resurrected something or something like that. So, but they probably will end up. Marcus will probably end up just going, they're the fucking locusts, goddamn it, and they like, and that'll be it. And that'll be it, and they'll just say locust.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna see like an interaction with like a locust that's still alive, or like some form of locust versus swarm if they end up buddying up, or if they're gonna be against each other in Gears 5.
Yeah, I think what will save Horde in terms of boss variety in the end will be the fact that they will doppelganger swarm versions of all of the locusts or whatever they can, or have an equivalent of some kind, and then the fact they could throw all of that, including legacy characters, into Horde mode. Like I imagine, like I was thinking of like if bought like what I was saying with Rom being on the map. Like if taking out Rom was like taking Rom out in Gears 1, like he has the big troika and he covers himself in krill. It's a dynamic fight like that, right? And like Karn lands on the map and he's on his beast, and Queen Mira comes onto the map and she's on her like Reaver thing. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. And you know, like stuff like have fights be like not necessarily load it with bullets until it's dead. Like have mechanics like you like the Brumac, you got to shoot it in the arms to take out one arm, makes it weak and disables that, makes it easier. Take out the other arm and then blow up his canister. Like have it that
the Lamb Berserker, I really liked how it was like get it to open its chest and then like, and maybe even the final fight in Gears of War 4, like maybe you could knock out a certain boss and it lies down, you have to run up to it and hold X to do a kill on it, and then run back and start shooting it again until you get it down. Just make fights that it isn't just pumping bullets.
I like the Hydra fight where literally it would, you know, it'd come round and it would grab you. You'd have to take that arm off. It would then fly back and then sort of like it'd spawn in front of you, and you got to dodge those rockets. You know, I like, you know, you could kind of sort of like do that.
Right.
Yeah. Imagine that boss fight. Imagine if that was like map specific, like Harbor. You know, the way that Easter egg with it's actually there.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you came up and actually bit where the drop shot is, and you have to shoot it in the eyes. That kind of, you know, stuff like that.
God, yeah.
And then even bringing the surprise too, like you said earlier, would be great. Just so like, you know, we always have this. Okay, it's Wave 7. Start prepping for Wave 10 because it's going to be coming up soon. All of a sudden, like if they have an anything goes mode, which we have, but it's not really anything goes. Anything goes except for no boss fights other than Wave 10. No boss fights that involve multiple bosses, things like that. Like, surprise us. It's really gonna.
Can you imagine that? You'd load up anything goes, and then suddenly, right? Okay, we drop the fabricator. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Oh shit! There's a Swarmac.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
you know, that is literally anything goes.
That'd be amazing, though. I'd love that. Like, just drops you like.
Scale it accordingly. Like, make it so it's not stupid. But
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, hell no, come on. Can you imagine that? Wave 50, you've got a Swarmac, a Snatcher, and a Carrier, and a Kestrel all coming towards you.
Make sure you have call shot.
Imagine if they ghost patch. Imagine if they ghost patch in a boss that we didn't know was in the game, right? Like you're playing Horde mode, right? And then all of a sudden, like we just like we know the bosses that are in the game, but they patched in Karn and didn't announce it. And
the
then
Reaper.
Just, boom, Karn comes in, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then they only announce it the next day. By the way, you might have noticed that Karn has entered the battlefield, like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think there's so many things that they could do to make Horde mode very, very exciting, and attract people in that wouldn't usually, that just don't want to hop in and credit grind. Like, there's people who specifically, they say they will only grind for credits in versus mode, and they won't touch Horde mode just because they see it as just like, but it's like they see bots as fake players.
Inferior, yeah.
They see bots as fake players. Like, that's the mentality they have. So they're like, why are you going in there killing bots? You're a scrub. Like, that's not the point. Like, if they make it kind of like a cinematic, different experience rather than just bots, I think that would make it definitely more exciting.
Yeah.
You hit that. I hate you. Sorry, she's just taken the last whisper bar. She hid it from me this morning so I wouldn't find it. Now she's just run upstairs with it.
Oh no!
Sadness.
I'm sorry. That's it. Conversation over, guys.
All right.
Seriously, but I think it'd be kind of good. You remember in Gears 1, I think it was Act 1, and you had the 4 emergence holes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, are you in the ring at that point? Like, there's that big ring that you're sitting in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know exactly what
Yep.
you're talking about.
It was actually an achievement on Gears Ultimate Edition. You had to plug
Block
all
them all,
4
yeah.
E-holes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Now, can you imagine doing that as an objective? There's
Yeah.
4 E-holes. There's 4 E-holes that span randomly
Right.
on the map.
Yeah, that's what I was.
You've
that's
got
what I was-
a few seconds. Yeah,
yeah,
I like
that's
it.
perfect.
My friend and
Yeah.
I did that section with only chainsaws. It's like
I've also
chainsaw them
done that,
as
yeah.
they come out of
You sit there and wait.
as they come out of the hole. You chainsaw them, then
Yeah,
you
but
run to the
that's
next
an
one.
example of an objective that like
Yeah.
it takes you away from just the fact you're just constantly aimed down sights looking at hordes of enemies coming at you. The fact you have to go do something and it takes you out of your comfort zone to go plug up those E-holes. Otherwise, more waves of enemies are coming in and that risks you failing the wave, or like you have to go defend that crashed satellite and maybe have it be like there'd be like a King of the Hill ring around it and you have to capture it over a certain amount of time. It wouldn't capture as fast as a King of the Hill ring. It might go up over 60 seconds or something like that. But, just dynamic objectives that make you kind of move.
I
Yeah,
think
right.
to sum up all of our
fantastic.
conversation, it's dynamics and variety.
Yeah.
It's
Yep,
like,
exactly.
I mean,
And
that's what we need.
I think we're all in agreement with each other that if we were put in charge, we could just make this. We can make Gears great again. Okay,
Right.
we
Dude,
know
I
what we have to
couldn't
do.
write. We
There
all
will
say
be a
that,
wall.
People
There
always
will
say
be
that,
a
but I
wall.
couldn't write code.
Wait.
I couldn't write code to save my life. I couldn't do that. So,
Right.
like,
It's a
hats
code.
off to any developer out there, man. They're crazy talented, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do that. No way.
Yeah.
I could be like a design lead or whatever. Like just throw them the concepts and give them the ideas and stuff, and do QA and stuff like that. But in terms of like actually executing it, no chance.
Right. And that's where I always
Test
consider
public
like
relations.
yeah, I always consider the fact that like the coalition, while there's a lot of experienced people in there, like you got Rod heading the whole thing, it still is a new company. So I'm always kind of given that benefit of like, all right,
Yeah.
so they're really trying out some things, and the way I keep putting it on my stream is just like Gears 4 seems like a start game. Like, all right, this is like a new franchise that's starting up. You got new enemy types, you've got all these new characters, you've got a new developer behind it, new type of horde.
Yep.
Everything new.
Right.
So that's where I'm thinking, like, if we're really going to see, like, the biggest variety and stuff, Gears 5 is really where we're going to see a lot of this happen.
Right.
Like, Gears 4 is the start, and, okay, we're kind of seeing where their ideas are unfolding and stuff like that. Like, and I was going to bring this up earlier with potentially bringing Locust in. I'm like, well, how about in Gears 5, they just make a ton of more enemies? Like, that come into the story, like, bring my tickers back of sorts, if they could. But
Please bring my tickers back so I can start kicking on people and killing them and downing them.
I mean, the coalition,
Please.
they've as far as Horde goes, they've done a fantastic job expanding it. It's the scope of it is huge compared to Gears 3, and Gears 3 was huge compared to Gears 2. So Horde just keeps getting better and better with each iteration.
I love where the campaign went, where it links back to Gears of War 3. I like the evolution of Horde mode and the direction that it's potentially headed. I think they've set a solid foundation for what Gears 5 could be. It's all about just expanding and adding more to, as we were saying, like diversity and there's just more enemy types, more and different. And like what I would like to see is that I think there needs to be more variety in like game modes. Like I think the fact that there's only versus and Horde is not enough. Like there needs to be the in between, like maybe the Beast 2.0 or the mode we were talking about, like the Gears Ops. Putting us in story scenarios that's kind of like, but for doing Gears Ops, you earn stuff that benefits your Horde and multiplayer stuff. Like maybe there's skins or credits or what have you, something like that.
absolutely.
There's so much that they can do, but I think for the next one, I think they ought to, if they were going to do again a season pass, I think they really could use. I know. I'm gonna.
We won't talk about that.
I'm gonna brush.
We already know.
No, I want to brush on this really quickly. So, you remember with the Gears 3 season pass, they brought out, I think it was the second installment. I think it was the second installment, Ram Shadow.
Ram Shadow, yeah.
Where they brought an extra campaign. So maybe for that part, they can say, right, for the second part of the season pass, this is what we call, again, we can call it Gears Ops, for example. You get to play through the entire campaign again, but this time you get to do this. You've got to beat this in a certain time limit. You've got to kill a certain amount of enemies in here. You know, something like that. And I think that would really sort of like encourage people to, you know, become more engrossed in the game.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be really, 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 really cool.
Right. At least anything
and also
more
we
to...
need a giant ticker as a boss as well.
Yes.
In Horde mode.
More to help realize that, like, the game has more than just the multiplayer. Like, they've done a phenomenal job with really getting the esports scene to grow and to develop and stuff. And the multiplayer has always been a really big selling point. Although, at the same time, it has suffered on the side of, like, me starting out streaming Horde mode on Twitch. It's just like people are going, wait a minute, there's a co-op mode in this? Like, bro, like, it just, there's that moment where people don't realize. Yeah, exactly. Or even back in the day when I was extensively playing Gears 2, I remember a news article coming out that was saying that it was like half of the people that bought Gears 2 hadn't played the campaign or played Horde mode. It's just Versus. So the more they can do to bring
one of the Gears games had a higher Horde population than Versus, right? Was it?
I think Gears 3 had higher campaign than Horde and higher Horde than Versus, I think. It was,
it was really... It shocked me. I was like, oh, but people are constantly talking about Versus, but there's like this whole Horde community that's just like there, but they're not vocal at all.
A
like,
large part of it is couch co-op.
They're not content creators. They're not on Twitter. They're not like
it's
actively.
Couch co-op, man.
They're just people who play the game. That's casually. That's it.
I'm starting out with Twitter, which is how I found most of you guys. I'm slowly starting out with Twitch streaming. I've got 18 followers, so
huzzah!
There's more Twitch followers than I have.
There's always that start.
I do stream other stuff. I do stream Rock Band, which is just, you know, a music platform, which I absolutely love. You know, but Gears is my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it very difficult to stream at my house, which is why I love coming to my girlfriend's, because she's got an awesome internet connection and mine's just horrible. It's almost like dial-up at mine. So I tend to stream Gears here than at mine, which is kind of cool. So, you know, I'm if you guys are sort of like, I know Pete, you're quite big with the whole YouTube thing. So I don't know if you stream on Twitch at all.
Yeah, I've taken a break recently just because I was I burned myself out.
Yeah,
I was just like, there's putting on a show every day is mentally draining to a certain extent. So I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait till I'm good here, and then I'll start up again. But yeah, Twitch, like being part of the community in that sense, in the streaming and content creating and us giving opinions and stuff like that. All it does is help the game. Like the fact that you're new and you've just come in and you have all these opinions and all this experience is something that the community needs. Like so you're someone we like up until now, like don't take this the wrong way. Up until now, a lot of us haven't heard of you, but like now that you've come in and you're giving your opinions and stuff, it's all that's doing is helping the game and giving it feedback. Like you have all of these hours of experience of playing Horde mode, so what better guy to talk to than you? Do you know what I mean? Right. Like that's.
Thank you. That's really appreciated. I mean, I really want your guys' your opinions. I want to blend in with you guys more.
Yep.
You know, so that'd be really cool. I'd like to build a relationship with you. All three of you guys, obviously Pete being like, you know, where he is.
God tier.
Brandon, obviously,
he's the high ups.
He's basically our scion. Okay, I'm just a tracker. Okay, I'm at school, but I can do a lot of damage.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know, I know. But I'd like to build a relationship with all four of us, and you know, hopefully we can do great things. We can make Gears great again. Oh God, I sound like an English Donald Trump.
United we stand. But that's something I always want to drive home is that like I want a community-wide effort to make sure everything is knitted together. For the longest time, there was a YouTube scene, an esports scene with the Gears 3. Like there was, community run events like Hypefestation and stuff. It was very, it wasn't great. It wasn't a great
That's
place.
That's where
for
I won this T-shirt.
Yeah,
remember the days of Gearsopedia.
It wasn't, Gearsopedia. It wasn't a great place, what I'm trying to say is there was this separation, right? But since the Coalition has come in, and with Gears of War Ultimate Edition, there was kind of this knitting, but it's not as knit as it could be. I think the split in tuning in the game creates that mental divide. Like there's the difference between Horde versus and esports, and like there's those kind of separations. It should be more of a come together scenario, and that takes effort from the community, and it takes effort from the developer as well. And I think in Gears 5, I don't think we're going to see core and competitive tunings and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense going forward, I think.
No, and that will be a big discussion topic in another one of these panels.
That's a lot.
Get some.
That's a few panels.
We won't go there. Just not spoil. But
no,
I think
we'll save that for another time, perhaps.
Yep.
Is there any more points you wanted to hit, chaps? Is there anything else you could think of?
Don't think so.
No,
I think honestly at this point, I think I could probably split this into like 5-6 videos to put out.
But wait, there's more.
Wait.
No, seriously, I think there is a lot we could expand on. So much more of the topics that we've already covered. We really could go into some stupidly long detail, but I don't know whether you guys are up for this, but I'd be quite happy to do another one of these where we just focus on one topic and kind of extend on it. I think that could be an interesting one.
So let's do this. Anyone watching these videos, if you're interested in any of these topics and having us go into more detail, leave comments, go on Twitter, go on Reddit, go on forums, make posts about it. If there's interest in some of these topics, I'm fine getting the same panel, getting a new panel. You guys create your own, whatever, and we can talk about stuff.
Yeah, we could talk about the evolution of Horde, or maybe that Gears Ops thing, or just whatever. It could be literally anything from this video, like something that you're like, whoa, that sounded good. Talk more about that. Like an ideal scenario would be, I don't think this could happen in a public situation, would be a designer from the Coalition saying, okay, this, and then we talk about it, this, and then talk about it broadly. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure if that's something that can happen in a public setting, because obviously development is private, and you don't want people knowing what's happening and what's coming, because that spoils the reveals and stuff like that. But exciting for the future. I think Gears 4 has laid a solid foundation, as we said, and I think there's plenty of things that can happen to make Horde mode in particular, as we're talking about, more exciting, and the game overall.
Yep. Absolutely. So, fully optimistic about it.
Is this the point where we kind of sort of like broadcast our channels and our Twitters and everything else?
Yeah, I think we'll
a bit of shameless self-promotion.
I think we're gonna wrap up here. So let's go around in that same order that I had at the beginning. So we'll go around my screen here. So Pete, you're up.
Oh yeah, everything for me is the Razored Edge. I have that handle on absolutely everything. So Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, anything you can think of. The only place I don't have that username is PSN. Someone took it. But yeah, if you want to find me, that's it. The Razored Edge.
All right, Robert.
Twitter, it's the One Gunman. Xbox, it's the One Gunman.
But
Twitch,
do you have underscores and stuff? You got to be specific.
I have no underscores. It's just a space. It's the
on Twitter.
Number one.
Right? Twitter.
I think I believe so. You know what? Like I say, I'm still new to this. Let me just log up, get my phone up onto Twitter so I can see what it is. Yeah. Okay. Twitter. It's underscores the One Gunman.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Right. So yeah.
Don't want people getting lost.
I'm still learning. So yeah, Xbox, it's the One Gunman. Twitch, where's my Twitch thing? I'm sorry, you can edit some of this, edit some of these.
No, it's one shot, man. You gotta go.
Oh, and Twitch, it's just the One Gunman, no spaces. It's just all of that one. I think that is. So I'll probably be following the rest of you guys anyway on your various. I think I'm already subscribed to you on YouTube, Pete. So. Yeah.
Quench, where can
YouTube-
we find more Bob Ross?
Yes. On Twitch primarily. I have two. Wait, I have two T-shirts on Bob Ross. But either way, very much like Pete. Cherry Quench all across the board. The only on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch is where I'm mainly at, and I'm trying to get a lot more stuff up on YouTube as we're going along, kind of starting that out. The only thing that's different is Xbox Live. It's Cherry Space Quench. And I think I need to change that. I thought I was going to go with the space, and now it's just like, nah, that's stupid. But yeah, Cherry Quench across the board.
All right, and obviously you're on this YouTube channel for Tac-Com, so you know where to find us. I'll have all of these links for the other guys linked down below, so go check out their channels. All right, thanks everyone for joining on this first Horde panel, and look forward to doing more of these in the future. Maybe get some of you guys in on those as well.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thanks,
chaps. Thank you, guys. And
thank you for taking the chance with the new guy. Yeah, thanks for everyone who's going to be watching. We love all your support and also your bits and your donations.
All right, guys, catch you later.
Thank you very much. Take care.